Hello and welcome. Today I'm adding Inspector Waffles The Early Days to my ever-growing list where I rank every Evercade game ever. Yep, that's right, I'm doing this very soon after it's released as Game of the Month, as I finished it on the first day it was released. It won't make it to a cartridge until 2027, when it will be part of Indie Heroes 5, but for the moment you can play it as part of the Game of the Month programme. Inspector Waffles The Early Days is a prequel to Inspector Waffles, an indie game developed by Galosco Games, as is this prequel, although the main Inspector Waffles game is released on modern platforms I believe and is a point and click adventure. I don't know much about it, I've never played it, but this game right here, The Early Days, was developed in GB Studio and is for the Game Boy Color. You play Inspector Waffles on his first day on the job and have to solve a few cases using your detective skills. It is a top-down adventure and it is heavily dialogue based. You'll wander around investigating things, talking to people and going from location to location, getting clues, interrogating people and solving the cases.
Graphics.
For the most part, Inspector Waffles looks like you'd expect a top-down adventure for the Game Boy Color to look. Everything has a fairly simplistic look to it, but it's drawn well, everything's easy enough to read, and there's nothing to really complain about or gripe about in any shape or form. It might not be an amazing looking game, but there's certainly a charm to it.
Sound and music.
The sound effects are fairly minimal, with your button presses and menu navigations having the right cues for it. There's not much to speak of. The music is pleasant enough, it never felt too annoying or too repetitive.
Gameplay.
The gameplay is rather simple. You move around in the usual top-down adventure style. You talk to people, examine items, and the main, I suppose, hook of the game is the interrogation system, in which you'll ask the various suspects or witnesses various questions based on the clues that you found. And it works fairly well, although it can effectively come down to a bit of trial and error. It's not like there's any branching paths or anything in this game. It is very straightforward. If you have the right clue, you can ask the right question and get the right answers. So it very much follows a formula, although there are some hidden extras in there that if you find them on each case, it'll allow you to access the final 6th case. But anyway, it is very dialogue heavy, and ultimately large sections will come down to reading text, pressing B to advance it, and pressing it again, and pressing it again, and pressing it again. So your enjoyment largely will come down to how engaging you find the narratives.
Overall opinion.
Inspector Waffles is a well-made game. It's a very polished game for something made in GB Studio, which most of the games I've played made with it have been a little bit rough around the edges in some shape or form. But I can't say I came across any bugs in Inspector Waffles. But it is the sort of game that I think GB Studio can handle well, so maybe that's part of it. As for the game itself, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Personally, I like point and click adventures, I like things with a good story, but really the story here isn't really my jam, being neither comical enough or mysterious enough to really engage me. But I wouldn't call it a bad game in any shape or form. It's perfectly functional, and as I said, for the right audience it'll be a really enjoyable game, but it's not one I can see people playing through more than once, unless they really want to see the extra case and they didn't manage to get everything on their first playthrough. Anyway, overall it is a perfectly charming little game. It's perhaps not so much to my tastes, but as I mentioned, there will be people who will love this. Just it's safe to assume there'll be plenty of people who will be completely unimpressed by this because it doesn't appeal to them in the slightest. Yep, I can really state the obvious at times.
Ranking.
Placing Inspector Waffles The Early Days on my ever-growing list where I rank every Evercade game ever, I've elected to put it above Demon Attack but below Gunsner, placing it at 247 out of 415 games that I've ranked so far. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.